In the comments, you'll have to let me know if you've ever heard of genetic sequencing or had your own DNA sequenced before. Because just recently, I had my own DNA sequenced and I learned a whole bunch of fun facts and health insights. So I knew that I needed to share with you all how this process works. Now, your part is very simple. You simply run a swab along your cheek and collect saliva in a small tube. But the saliva is not the important part. It's actually cheek cells that are within that saliva that are critical. You're then going to seal off that tube and mail it to the lab. And your part is now done. But the lab's part is just getting started. Because once they receive that sample, at the lab, it's going to be barcoded, logged, and then checked for quality. That's first to make sure that there's enough cells within that saliva to actually sequence, and then second to make sure that it hasn't been contaminated, such as by bacteria. This is where there's the potential for a second sample to be requested if it doesn't pass quality checks. However, if it does pass, it'll then move on to DNA extraction, and that's where the lab is going to pull out the DNA from those cells. You can almost think of this like you have a whole bunch of Lego boxes, you're opening them all up, but you're only pulling out the manuals. Next, the whole genome is going to be sequenced. And yes, that's the entire amount of your DNA. And that's where sequencing.com differs from other tests that are available, because this is like reading the whole book rather than focusing on a few key sentences, which is what other tests may do by looking at just certain areas of your DNA. But by looking at the whole genome, this gives a bigger picture into your health insights over time. Next, another quality check is going to be done to look for any inconsistencies or unreadable data in that sequencing, which may allow for scientists to go back and then redo parts of that sequencing. However, if it passes that second quality check, that's when one can get their results. And these results are not just comparing one's DNA to another individual's DNA. It's actually analyzing your DNA for specific genetic markers, so it goes deeper into what your DNA actually says. And it's important to know that these results are statistical, so they may say that this genetic marker that you have is more likely that you could have a certain condition, but it's not deterministic. So if you want more information about sequencing your DNA, check out sequencing.com and leave a comment on this video if you ended up having it done and what you learned about the process. Thank you for watching my latest video. And if you're not already, make sure you're subscribed to the channel by clicking over here. And you may also enjoy a related video that I have, which you can find by clicking over here. I'll see you on the next one.